Hi, Jed from Cook Culture. So today for lunch, we're making one of my kids' absolute favorites. May sound kind of strange, but it's a kale salad. The reason for it is that we make it really, really tasty. So it's a kale Caesar salad. So we're gonna be chopping up the kale really, really fine. We've got chickpeas that I have pan fried, I've cooked them and then pan fried them. They have powdered garlic and cumin and salt, and then they're glazed with maple syrup. So those are all quite crusty, and those are gonna be our croutons. So we're going to get the kale ready. I've got some cashews soaking. We're gonna blend up the cashews with some apple cider vinegar, some tamari, some mustard, a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, a tiny bit of syrup, and some garlic. And we're gonna make the salad dressing. That's all gonna just kind of come together quite easily. But one of the reasons they like this is that the way in which I do the kale is I use a kale zipper, but you don't have to. You can use whatever you want to de-stem it. But the kale, the way in which I make the kale, they like it because it's really, really easy to eat. So roll up the kale and just cut it nice and thin. And I find that they like the little stringy bits. You know, it's got enough fibrous bits to it, but that is manageable for, you know, younger kids to eat without a problem. It's not like gigantic big leaves that they're trying to manage and put into their mouths. So I will prep all of that kale. We'll get it into this bowl, and the croutons will go on last. But the next thing that we'll do after I do the kale is that we'll make the dressing. So we've got all the kale chopped, shredded into this bowl. So picky eaters, people tell me all the time, my kid would never eat that. That's true. Kids won't eat certain foods if they're not accustomed to certain foods. So when I was getting my kids at a younger age to eat this type of food, where they mouth this food now, this is like normal dinner, lunch food to them. But they were younger, growing, and their flavors were developing and textures, and they were also eating out of the house and understanding what regular processed type food tastes like and how easy it is to eat, how sweet it is. You know, they would eat a kale salad like this, and when they were younger, they were like, it's not my absolute favorite. There were two things that I did. One thing is that I massaged kale. I don't do it much anymore, but you take the kale in your hands and you just start to work the kale down and just massage and massage and massage and massage and just kind of rip it sideways amongst itself here, and it gets softer and softer. It'll get smaller and smaller. So a nice big solid salad, I don't do that as much, but it makes it easier to eat for little kids or anybody who may not love eating a lot of kale. The other thing that my wife and I were committed to when we were younger is that this is how we eat at home. And when we put dinner on the table, that was dinner. There wasn't a second dinner, or there wasn't something else that would come out of the fridge magically if the kid complained enough. This is all that they got to eat. And if they didn't eat that, then they didn't have dinner. And it became as simple as that. It was interesting, I read a book a year ago now, maybe a year and a bit ago, by a guy called Dr. Joel Fuhrman, who is a leader within, he's a Western medical doctor, but a leader within preventative medicine. And he advocates in a book how to disease-proof your children. The main focus of making kids or helping kids eat food that is nutritious for them is first by example, and then by being strong with your kids on what is for dinner, what is for a snack, and what is appropriate. And that's what it came down to. And I was always wishy-washy on the fence about, can't really say this to parents or to people or whichever, and we have to be careful about what we say about food. But the reality is, if we're feeding kids crap all the time, they're gonna be unhealthy. And it's as simple as that. If they're eating, it doesn't have to be kale salad, whatever is healthy whole food, it comes from parents being particular about what they eat for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, snacks in the house. Like if we're eating junk food, that's because junk food came in the house. And the last time I've noticed, it's not 8-year-olds at the grocery store, right? And so, I get particular about that because it is a particular thing. You know, we want our kids to be healthier. We as adults need to make these choices. So enough of that, back to eating. We're gonna move on to the salad dressing. So we're making a very simple cashew cream, and then we're going to dress it up a little bit. I'm actually gonna extract some of it because I'm gonna make a neat cashew cream with garlic and apple cider vinegar. And I'm gonna put some of that aside. This is way too much. This is what I had remaining in my bowl of cashews. So I'm just making a bunch of cream because I'll use it for pastas and other types of sauces. So I'm gonna throw all of that right now into the blender, and that's about 4 cups altogether. I'm gonna throw 3 cloves of garlic. I would throw some salt in here, but I'm using tamari, and tamari is really salty. So I'm gonna leave this quite bland, even though it's gonna have apple cider vinegar. You could also use lemon. So I'm gonna put in here probably about half a cup of apple cider vinegar. And I'm gonna go back to the sink and grab a little bit of water. What I do at this point here is I turn it off. Just scrape down the sides. Just make sure that there's no chunks of dry nuts in the corner. But you can see, like, that's a huge amount of sauce there. So I don't need to use that much, of course, for salad dressing. So a little bit more water. Okay, now we've got some consistency. That's kind of caught. I mean, I'll just watch it. It might solid up again, but it's probably gonna keep going around. And then from there, I'm gonna let that go for about a minute, minute and a half, so it gets really, really creamy. And then I'll take half of that out. Okay, so I left that for a whole 2 minutes, which is great. And there's the consistency. So it smells really apple cider vinegary, which is awesome for me. That's a flavor that I really love, and I find my family does. So I'm gonna pour off a bunch of that and keep that aside. So yeah, we'll throw a liter in there. So we've got, yeah, it's a liter in there. That's probably enough dressing in there, probably more than we need, but we will throw that aside. And we're gonna throw that back on. We're gonna throw in probably a teaspoon. That I had put some water in the bottom of this just to get the end of it. So there's actually probably a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce and a little bit of water. So there's probably a teaspoon of the Worcestershire sauce. It's kind of neat stuff. They make an organic, gluten-free, vegan Worcestershire sauce, and I grew up eating Worcestershire sauce. My mom is a Brit, and it tastes exactly the same. It's good stuff. So we'll put in about 2 to 3 tablespoons of tamari. Get in a nice heaping teaspoon of mustard, Dijon. And not a bit, you just want a tiny bit of maple syrup. And you can put in here some pepper, some like cayenne. You could, like, however you want to go, you can mess around with it from here. So now we're going to, on a low speed, just blend that up. and then crank it up a little bit. All right. Yeah. So then what we're gonna do from here, get that dressing right on the salad. And there's a lot of kale here. I use 4 heads of kale because we're feeding 6 of us. So I've probably got 3/4 of a cup of dressing, depending again how much you have. Dressing lasts for a good long time. Earlier when I was de-stemming the kale, really fantastic for smoothies. So don't put that in the compost. Put it in smoothies. Okay, then we've got all of our chickpeas. In they go. Nice and sweet chickpeas. And I think do I have a taster around here? I think I might have a taster. And so we're going to grab another spatula and we will mix that up. Taster here. Awesome. Okay. You want to grab a fork, please? Okay, so that's well dressed, nice and creamy as you want Caesar salad to be. The chickpeas were cold. I let them cool. If you put them in too hot, it makes everything very runny. So, our little taster. Let's grab some chickpeas. Chickpeas sometimes are hard to grab. Are you ready? Thumbs up. Awesome. Tasting good? Like normal? Excellent. Okay, so really, really simple. Better than normal. Okay, it's a special day. So really, really simple to do, really fast. As you can see, my son loves it. The dressing is super tasty. If this didn't have a super tasty dressing on it, they wouldn't be eating a bowl full of raw kale. So putting together the dressing to have the kind of flavors and depth. Again, each person likes things a little bit differently. So I put in apple cider vinegar. You may love lemon instead. You might want to make it a bit spicy, like I was saying. Also with these guys, this has a bit of cumin, and the cumin adds a really nice, deep, rounded flavor. The tamari, using in a kale Caesar, using tamari, again, a lot of umami, really rich, bold taste, which is awesome. A lot of Caesar dressings call for nutritional yeast in place of Parmesan, which is also really tasty. We've just found that tamari is a flavor that the whole family really likes. So I hope that was quick and easy for you, and thanks so much.